What makes El Ruby special is after that you get up to a flat plateau that's about 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers in diameter, and that becomes very favorable for open pit heap leach mining, which is what that state is known for, which is some of the cheapest cost mining that you can do in the world.
Well, hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics, and quite fortunate today to be joined by Steve Cope of Silver Viper Minerals, that you've seen many times on the show. And Steve, thanks for checking in to give us an update of how things are going over at Silver Viper. I know you've had quite a bit going on, so welcome on in, and perhaps you could provide an update for people.
Yeah, Chris, it's been a very exciting time. Thanks for having me on the show again. We always love coming on and updating your audience. Really looking forward to the SilverFest when we can get down there and see everyone in person. And it sounds like that's going to happen this October. And so I'm ready to book my ticket and hope everyone else can jump on and come join us down there.
Well, we'll be excited to have you here in the silver capital of the world, which is also where you're exploring for silver. And perhaps, real quick, for anyone who might be new to Silver Viper, if you give a brief update of the company or brief overview of the company, and then we'll dig into an update with some of the recent progress.
Yeah, so the company has a single project at the moment. It's in eastern Sonora in the Sierra Madre Mountains there between the states of Sonora and Chihuahua. We got involved with that project in 2018, and we promptly made a discovery at an area of the project called El Rubi. For those that don't know, by the way, Sonora is the #1 gold producing state and #3 silver producing state in Mexico. It's very mining friendly. Mining is the top industry in that state. So we've always been very excited to work in that state. It's somewhere we're very comfortable. The state government is highly supportive of mining. Yeah, you can actually see in that image there in the picture, that's on El Rubi where we made our discovery, and that's right at the start of a plateau. What makes El Rubi special is after that you get up to a flat plateau that's about 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers in diameter, and that becomes very favorable for open pit heap leach mining, which is what that state is known for, which is some of the cheapest cost mining that you can do in the world. The average open pit heap leach mine there operates at about a half-gram gold average grade. So again, we are well above with our resource that average grade of the other operating mines in the area. We're at about 700,000 gold equivalent ounces or 49 million silver equivalent ounces in that maiden resource. Since then, we've expanded where the open pit would be by about 300 meters to the south down to the bottom of that arroyo. So our next resource update, we'll be expanding for sure on that first number. And recently, we just completed a geophysics program that covered that whole El Rubi area and some of our targets to the east. And we're very excited about the results of that geophysics survey. We originally did that survey. We knew we were onto something special, but we had a large investment from one fund, and Quentin Henning, who does a lot of their analysis before investment, got access to our full database, and he actually thinks that we're onto something, a gold carbonate based metal system, which isn't from our results what you expect, but that comes from a deeper down target below what we've been hitting, near surface at El Rubi. And so we did this deep geophysics magnetotelluric program, and so far it has shown us everything and then some of what we hoped it would. So we're very excited to now be in a position to start drilling some of those targets. It showed us a very large anomaly underneath where we made our discovery at El Rubi, which we think will be the source of potentially either that gold carbonate based metal or these deeper sulfides that have been high grade that we've seen blasted up into our high grade structure at El Rubi. We look, geophysics only shows you so much, but we've tried to talk about what, that target could be if it isn't high grade sulfides, and we don't have clays, which could possibly be that resistivity, but that we don't have that. It could be water, we don't have that. So, it really seems like it's going to be the source of those sulfides, and so we're going to be testing El Rubi at depth on that. And then it actually lit up a lot of targets east of El Rubi that were previously unknown that were undercover because there was no surface outcrop. We've seen, sniffs in our surface geochem program in the soil sampling, but we've got a lot of very compelling targets east of El Rubi all the way over to our already known Paradonis target, and then south to our El Molino South target. So we're in a position right now where, in a regular market, I would love to be doing a very large raise and adding rigs and ramping up the program based on a lot of these results. But in the meantime, we'll continue to drill with one rig until we get back into a normal market and start to explore on a lot of these new targets.
Well, that makes sense. And Steve, I have a couple slides pulled up here that perhaps you could touch on and show us a little bit more about the geography of the area.
Yeah, so here you can see the red outline that you can see around here. That was our resource area, or the parameters of the El Ruby pit. And again, where you kind of see these blind targets, and especially this one, and this is looking, actually in this case, oh no, this is looking to the north. So you've got our El Ruby prospect, which is the end of that plateau. We didn't cover the geophysics program all the way up to that, but that's the far end of the 2 kilometer by 2 kilometer plateau. And you can see those, high colored dots up there are high grade surface chip samples or soil samples that were taken up in there. Where you get the multicolor elements here, that is the geophysics program that we just ran all the way down to the southern part of El Molino there. And then it even picked up the start of the Macho Libre prospect area. So I think we'll actually go back and, based on how well this seemed to work, we'll expand it and cover the Macho Libre area, which is about a 2 kilometer long target as well. But mainly, and like what I was just talking about, you can see these resistivity highs here to the east on this image and underneath El Ruby itself. And those are, when you start to look, and we can move on to a section slide that shows you from the surface down, like here. So here you can see again the El Ruby pit, and you've got this very, very large red anomaly underneath and coming in between these resistivity lows that you see in the yellow and the green. And so we believe that is going to be the source of plumbing for El Ruby and potentially take us all the way down. I mean, when you're looking here for scale, the bottom of that red would be over a kilometer below surface. So we're talking about a big area here and lots of depth where we've never tested. There's been, you can see one drill hole here that was oblique to it because it's not going to surface. So it missed that, it wouldn't have hit that target. But we're going to go down and test that, and I'm very hopeful that that's going to be what produces those high-grade sulfide materials and potentially down and hitting a contact that could produce the, the rich gold, silver, and base metal numbers. And then to the east of that on there, you can see some of those other red circles. And then again, those are those blind targets that are under cover. As we move east, so obviously clearly labeled as blind targets here all the way over to the one on the far right, which is Peridonis. And again, our drilling in Peridonis that we have done has been shallow and would have missed this very large target. So again, very, very target rich, and that's just one section of those different lines. There's other targets. We only have so many slides that we can show, but we've got a lot of new areas to drill that we're really excited about. And so I think it's a very exciting time. And with this pullback in share price, frankly, I think people are getting a chance to position themselves in a company that's already got 49 million silver equivalent ounces, below our IPO price or close to our IPO price at the moment. I guess we had a lift the last couple of days, but I think it's a great time to invest if people have free capital in our space. And we're going to be very busy moving forward with lots of chances for new discoveries and hopefully some pretty big spectacular numbers if we get lucky.
Well, certainly an exciting phase of the project to be in. And Steve, can you tell us a little bit about what you're going to be doing in terms of the drilling program and anything else in regards to the timeline going forward?
Yeah, well, once we're still waiting on the full 3D imagery from the geophysics, but once we have that, we should get that in the next week or 2 weeks. We expect that we'll be starting a small program again we haven't decided exactly where we're going to start. My vote would certainly be testing that deeper target underneath El Ruby first. But we're going to be working towards that, testing that, and then when we get back to a more of a normal market, then we'll do a large placement and ramp up the program and start testing everything and add rigs. And then I would look after all of that, moving forward, probably doing a resource update by Q2 of next year.
Well, it seems like a good timeline, especially for a silver market that continues to be in deficit and have increasing demand going forward. Steve, before we wrap up, could you let folks know where they can find more information if they have questions and would like to contact you?
Yeah, you can go to www.silverviperminerals.com. All the contact details are on there. You can email info@silverviperminerals.com, and that'll come to Alicia or myself. Yeah, and feel free. Please reach out if you have any questions or want to talk about the silver industry. We're always excited to meet with all our shareholders and talk about anything.
Well, I sure appreciate that, Steve. You do have a passion for what you do, which I think is often required in a bear market like this. So appreciate you joining me, and we'll look forward to checking back in with you again soon.
Thanks, Chris. Always a pleasure.